Hello, my name is Lalani Ramos. I'm a Grand Canyon University student, and this is my mock IEP meeting. So to start off, I would welcome everybody and introduce myself. So it would go something like this. Good morning, welcome everybody. I'm glad to see everybody who's here to make it. Looks like everybody is here, so we're going to start off by introducing ourselves along with our roles. I will go ahead and start. My name is Lalani Ramos. I'm a special education teacher for Carver who specializes in autism. Would you like to go ahead next? And then everybody would go around introducing themselves. This would include the mother, the administrator, general education teacher, any special service members like OT or speech therapy, along with perhaps the specials teachers, or one of them at least, too, because that's where she ends up going. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss Jennifer's annual IEP and to revise it if necessary. I'd just like to go ahead and state that before we get started, we are all here to discuss Jennifer and discuss the goals that we have for her, along with any concerns that we may have. So I would like us all to be respectful of each other and give each other enough time to talk and discuss the kind of different data that we have so that we can narrow down exactly what is necessary for Jennifer and what would work to best suit her and help her be successful. Before we get too far into anything, I'd just like to give a brief description of Jennifer. She is an energetic second grader. She's in my autism program. She loves science and social studies because it incorporates a lot of engaging activities and projects, which she loves because it helps her to move around and just express herself in a way in the projects that we do. She likes to keep busy, but at the same time, she likes to have downtime too. So if we're doing some work that she doesn't like, then she seems to get a little bit irritated and doesn't want to do it. But in the end, she relatively does comply and works depending on what it is we're doing. Hopefully it's something of interest because it's easier to get her on track when it's that. She likes to socialize, loves to people watch, and to go around and visit other teachers. She loves being, a helper of the classroom, whether it be the snack helper or paper collector, line leader, any job that she possibly can have, she loves it. She loves to get help from others and to be helpful to others. And she's just a very caring little girl. And that's, a general description of her and her personality within my classroom, especially. Mom, would you like to go ahead and give us a brief description of any things you've observed or any concerns you may have that relate to her at home and may relate to her in school, anything we see at school? So then Mom will give her description, and then I will go ahead and go into any the present levels that we see. So for reading, Jennifer is very energetic, very interested in reading. We watch a lot of story online, and she's very captivated by what she's listening to. She does have a hard time sometimes when it comes to reading or staying on track or reading in unison, I should say. But that's a lot of the students in my classroom sometimes too, because they either want to rush through it really, really fast or they don't want to do it at all, so they are a little slower with it. She has writing strengths, or writing goals, I should say. Currently, her goal is to write her A's, letters A through Z, lowercase and uppercase. She has a hard time differentiating when she writes between the two, uppercase and lowercase. Sometimes a lot of her words will, or even her name will be varied letter sizes. So it'll start out big and then small, small, big, big, small, big, big, or something like that. When it does come to her writing her letters and legibility, it's hard to know exactly what she's writing sometimes because it's not as clear as it could be. She has a hard time with the closure of certain letters like A or B, or even when it comes to doing the tails of certain letters like a lowercase or uppercase U. She doesn't do the tail fully or connect it to the U part, the main portion of the U letter. A lot of the times her uppercase B's look like 13s, so she's not doing the full closure. So to help with that, we're just doing a lot more tracing kind of practice, along with we use shaving cream to help with that, and magnets, and the OT has some more information about the kind of practices that we use, because we collaborate with that. When it comes to math, her goal is to count from 0 to 20 using manipulatives. So she does really well with that. When it comes to doing counting on the board, she might come out of sequence maybe here or there, but for the majority part she stays on track and she can do it in sequence. When it comes to her behavior, that can be good and bad. She basically she expresses herself, that she's either angry or doesn't, or is pleased about something with expression, but rather than communicating her feelings to us, a lot of the time she just kind of runs out of the room, and she is known to be a runner. So it's kind of hard because it's distracting to the other students and interruptive to her own learning as well. So we try to do a now and then chart to help her stay on track, along with visuals, with a routine, and that's helped out with her behavior. But at the same time, it's, if she sees something in her routine that she doesn't want to do, then sometimes she'll just, or even if something goes out of routine, because it's classroom, it's classroom life, things are not always perfect. So if something is out of routine, she diverts from good behavior to running out of the room. When it comes to communication skills, we are trying our best to do the 1-2 directions. She does really well when it comes to that, unless it's something that she does not want to do. She wants to be in control, so it's hard for her to comply with the directions sometimes, unless it's on her own terms, or unless I can convince her in a way that it's like, okay, we're gonna do this first, but then we can do this. So like I said, we use the now and then chart, with that sequence or with that communication skills as well. When it comes to answering WH questions, she has a little bit of difficulty categorizing the information. So if I were to ask her, where did the farmer go? Or when did the farmer go to the bus? Her answer would be, the farmer went to the bus. she would give me more of an answer for a who question. So we're working on that, but it is something that she is still having difficulty with, and in relations to comprehending material from a lesson or from a reading. When it comes to motor skills or fine motor skills, she does pretty well with that. She, for instance, when it comes to like writing or fine motor skills, or doing a puzzle, or building blocks, she's fine with it. We do a lot of station rotation in our classroom, so that seems to help with the withstanding of the 10 minutes of her doing that, or participation for the 10 minutes. And then we switch over to another station. If it's free time kind of a thing, and we're doing, motor skills, concepts like that, then it's harder because for her to withstand it for 10 minutes, because she wants to bounce around from everything activity possible. So it's hard to keep her in one station area at one time if it's considered free time. If it's not, then she's a little bit better at it. And we have a time limit, so it's like you start here and then you go here and then here. Past that, that's about all I have right now for those concepts. We're going to go ahead and let the general education teacher talk now about her classroom and what she, teaches and how her classroom runs. So basically, at this point, the gen ed teacher would discuss those concepts to determine, along with the information that I provided as the special education teacher, to determine if Jennifer would be eligible for her class, or his or her classroom, for either a full-time or even just a small short amount of time to get some form of inclusion. After that, the speech and occupational therapist would discuss their findings with their data that they've collected in regards to Jennifer's progress or regression, depending on what they've seen and what they've collected. After that, I would discuss test results, and basically at this point, Jennifer does not have any test scores or results to discuss because of her age, because she does not participate in any testing. When it comes to, when it comes to ESY or extended school year, I would discuss with the team that, where is it? That ESY is not eligible for Jennifer because the eligibility in essential skills as a critical stage of development, she is not considered to be a critical stage of development. When it comes to accommodations or least restrictive environments, Jennifer is in a special education autism program and will not participate in her not participate with her non-disabled peers for most of the day. She will have regular opportunities for inclusion during recess and lunch, and additional opportunities for her to participate and learn in general education classroom settings or join a special activities or clubs with non-disabled peers as her behavior, schedule, and available support staff allow. So basically, she is not able to go into a general education classroom without a paraprofessional. And it all depends on her behavior and her routine and her scheduling and how everything kind of coincides with each other. When it comes to accommodations, her accommodations, I would discuss that her accommodations include within my classroom many things. So for instance, like the implementation of a consistent daily routine, preferential seating, sitting next to a student that could help her in class so that she would have a partner, because she is a little bit more accommodating towards a peer versus an adult. I would make certain that the student understands the directions, provide multiple sensory experiences, and use manipulatives. Read aloud to the student. Allow the student to use other forms of device for writing communication. So she would be able to use her iPad to write out her her content or information versus having to handwrite it. Permit the student to dictate responses for assignments rather than write them down. Break down assignments into smaller parts, which I do. That way it's not overwhelming for her or for any of the other students. Keep expectations consistent with the ability level. Give oral directions slowly, avoiding unnecessary words. Use visual aids and provide visual cues, including task cards and visual schedules. So within my classroom, she would have she would have access to all of this. She has a visual schedule, and I would explain that to the parents along with the team, and even give a display of her schedule. After that, I would discuss how these accommodations work. I would ask if the parents have gotten the safeguards and if they had any questions about it. If not, then we would proceed on with the meeting. If they did have questions, the team and I would answer them, and I would inform them that if later on they had questions, they could direct those questions to me through a phone call or email. I would, inform, once the meeting is over, inform the parents that they will be getting a copy of the completed IEP after we were done, or after it was completed, and then confirm their address and give them the choice of either having it mailed to them or having their student bring it home with them, depending on their preference. After that, I would also tell them that they were going to get a prior written notice about the meeting to kind of summarize what the team has decided in reference to Jennifer. And then I would just basically listen to all of them, all of their needs, all their expectations, concerns, and ask them questions about, so basically, now that we've finished this, an example of this would be me asking them, okay, so now that you've heard all of these goals and strategies that we use, do you have any additional information that you would like to provide, or any concerns that you think would help, or any concerns that you think should be addressed that maybe could be addressed here at school to prepare her for, behaving properly at home. By asking these questions, it allows the parents to feel valued and heard, but also allows them to get the kind of support that they want and need. Prior to that, we would have an ESS director talking to them and kind of summarizing or asking questions and getting an idea of the placement of the student, if it is accurate for them. And we would conclude that Jennifer is in the right placement because she's autistic and because of her behavioral traits. She's not eligible to be in a gen ed classroom full time, or even with or without a paraprofessional. The most that she might be in a gen ed classroom is maybe, 20, 30 minutes a day, if even that, and we could work up to that point. But it really just all kind of depends on how well her behavior is attended to, or managed, because she is a runner, so we have to keep that in mind, and we have to keep in mind her safety along with the safety of others. I would conclude the meeting by thanking everybody and, like I said, letting the parents know that they will be getting the completed IEP meeting form or completed IEP in the mail or from their student's backpack, depending on their preference, and then that they would be getting a prior written notice about the meeting and the concluded decision about Jennifer's placement. Thank you.